Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Prisoner Press. Now, I gotta jump right into this because I don't have much time to do any plugs or anything like that. All I want to quickly say is that prisonerpress.com, we have you covered. Anything you need when it comes to discerning right from wrong, when it comes to expressing the truth to exposing evil, when it comes to purchasing survival gear that helps benefit someone who's trying to just get the truth out there, you can support us by going there. Follow us on Twitter, Prisoner Press. Follow us on Facebook. Let's jump right into this and talk about this Breakaway Society that is literally the Great Enchilada, which is really the bee's knees of the truth movement. This is the sinister reality that the dark forces are trying to bring to pass. I told you many times in these transmissions that artificial intelligence is the coming thorn in the side of humanity. Humanity, like you and me, we are mere mortals compared to what's coming. And the elites, the reptilians, the people in control, they are working day in and day out to escape the failed species of humanity, and they will do this ultimately. This is the end game. This is ultimately what it all leads to. They will merge with artificial intelligence and robotics, become transhumanist, and become gatekeepers of the Breakaway Civilization. They will upload their consciousness to something that doesn't rely on the almost spilled my coffee there. Something that doesn't rely on the God-given restriction of biology. And they will form their new Breakaway Civilization. And they've already been working on this. They're fusing artificial intelligence with a whole new definition or synthesis of life forms as we know it, giving them the possibility to be everlasting, to live forever. And they're literally trying to become gods. They will be uploading their consciousness into machines and other non-biological vessels, because to them, they look at to me, I look at biology like something God gave us, which is what really makes us human is our biology. It's our soul put into this biological vessel that is temporary, because in order for us to live forever, you know the Christian message, you know the gospel. But what you don't know is that there's another side to this coin, where the elites are trying to bypass the creator of this biology and create their own fate. And all of this is happening outside of the egg yolk of civilization as we know it. I want to paint you a little picture. Think of life like an egg. You have an egg yolk. Everything is held together in the shell, but you have two different elements inside. You have a yolk and you have a white. Now the yolk doesn't seep out into the white, and the white doesn't seep into the yolk. The goal, the big takeaway of this Breakaway Civilization is to extract themselves out of the yolk of society that we have now, that's been formed for, I don't know, this plan's been going on for hundreds of years, if not thousands. Extract themselves interdimensionally out of that yolk and plant themselves in the outer white surrounding the yolk. And right now what they're doing in the yolk is planting all these resources, all these means, all these effects into the yolk to turn all the population against each other and destroy the remaining slaves. Why do you think they're pushing such a big migrant movement? Why do you think they're implementing communism? Why do you think they're silencing people in the media? Why do you think they're destroying the family unit, destroying families, taking away kids, taking away gender roles, taking away gender, taking away mom, taking away dad? Why do you think they're doing all these things that are proven to benefit society? They're taking all that away from us. Because they're trying to destroy the yolk. They want to eliminate the yolk. Because as we've known for hundreds of years, an old adage, an old plan of the elites, they want to bring the population down to less than 500 million people from what we're at now, which is like 9 billion. So I'm talking a lot about a breakaway civilization here that some of you watching this might have never even heard that term. You might not know what it is, but in a quick summary that I can do very quickly, because we have to get through a lot of material, a quick definition of this breakaway society is it's a clandestine or secretive group, a secretive operation that possesses technology that is vastly superior to that of the mainstream world. It has the ability to explore areas of the world and surroundings that are presently unavailable to us. For example, two big ones, space travel and interdimensional travel. They have possible interactions and encounters with others who are here or in our reality. For example, Nephilim, alien greys, reptilians, other creatures like that. They have scientific and cosmological understandings that give them greater insights into the nature of our world. And they have a built-off-the-grid infrastructure that right now is partially made underground that affords them a high degree of secrecy and independence of action. This is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm saying, right, like this whole land of the free thing that we had going on in America, the United States was literally created to be the Babylon 2.0. At first glance, in its founding, it gave people liberty and freedom, which created the largest population of wealth. We gained a whole lot of wealth really fast, which was reminiscent of what God intended for us. He wanted us to be prosperous. That's why, and he gave us free will so that we could achieve this, because freedom leads to prosperity. But he gave us specific blueprints for life, and when people don't follow his blueprints, we fall into sinister plots like we're in now. Freedom and liberty has been under attack for more than a century, and at the heart of this assault is the financial system, which funds the military. It bribes politicians. It funds the false flag operations that we constantly see happening in our government. And it intends to bring the whole globe under a technocratic, tyrannical system known as the one world government, the one world economy, the one world religion. All of this will be done through artificial intelligence that can interdimensionally manipulate world events. And even though this group works in the shadows, its actions can be seen through laws passed and actions done at the level of the U.S. federal government. And why did they choose the United States government to implement this? Because its culture of freedom allowed men of ambition to amass phenomenal amounts of wealth, which yielded them power, which they expanded through the U.S. government, the most powerful government on earth then and now. So why do these overt actions and overt plans? How did they do this? How did they get away with this? Well, first, the Breakaway Civilization took over the economy, and it married private bankers and scientists. This funded wars, nukes, our current AI development. Once science and the banks merged, that led to the creation of all these other problems. Like at the same time, they were taking over the military. We had UFOs, all these sightings, particularly in 1989, when it was just a huge year for UFOs, when in reality, it was people that were forming this breakaway civilization using their technology that they've made through interdimensional contact with Nephilim, through interdimensional contact with reptilian gatekeepers, with people that were more scientifically advanced than we could ever be because they had divine knowledge from the dimensions that had the heavens and the earth. When the angels came down, they mated with humans, and then those kids, the Nephilim, they passed all their knowledge on to men. They taught men sorcery, they taught men science, they taught men how to build UFOs, and I believe they make these UFOs so that they can travel through dimensions. And we had NASA scientist Herman Oberth. NASA scientist, what was he before that? Well, look at his autobiography or his resume. He was a Nazi. So we had this Nazi that was recruited into NASA, and he said that we cannot take all the credit for our record advancement in certain scientific fields alone. We have been helped by people of other worlds. So then we have the bankers, the scientists, the military generals, all of them communicating with these interdimensional child molesting demons that travel through space and time and bring knowledge that other people don't have, that people on the light side don't have, because we're mere mortals. We're just mere civilians. That's the world we live in. Then we had Eisenhower warn us about what would happen with this industrial military complex, that people would abuse the power. the Breakaway Civilization would take over society to pass their plans. Now, after they took over the banks, after they took over the military, next they took over the White House. And this happened after the assassination of our last true and rightful president, which was Kennedy. Now, hold on. I can't say this set in stone. Trump, in 2016 being elected, was a huge slap in the face and a roadblock to their plans. Now, why was this? Well, this was because they had intended for Democrats to get the White House. They planned for Hillary Clinton to be the president, and they had 8 years of our lives planned out for us for them to implement their globalist new world order. Now, when Trump got in instead, they were enraged, and that's why we see such vile unintegrity, such vile attacks, such vile, just complete trashing from the Democratic side. This is because they were shocked when Trump got in. Now, the Jfk assassination, that was literally a warning from this breakaway civilization that if you go after the banks, if you try to stop the banks, this is what happens. JFK had too many enemies. He was a thorn in the side of the Israelis who were trying to get their nuclear arsenal up to snuff. And Kennedy actually wanted to tell the public the truth about UFOs, which of course is that they're not from space, they're from other dimensions. It's forbidden knowledge. And then of course we had 9/11, which was not exactly what they told us either. Now, what happened after they took over the White House? They implemented a credit system that would take away the last tears of our liberty, that would take away freedom because they chose who got credit and who didn't. So you had to be a good boy or else you can't get any money. The bankers would shut you down. You'd be dead in the water. That is the big enchilada. The credit is really what screwed people over in the end. And lastly, they took over low orbit Earth. They are building a space fence around us of satellites. And what will this do? This will restrict who can leave the planet. Now, they think they're going to go populate Mars, but what they're really doing is traveling into different dimensions. And now what they're trying to do is to desperately take this technology out of the shadows because they're working on making it mainstream. But everything that they release literally has people like me, has other people telling the truth, telling you what's really with it. What's really with this 5G? How does it all relate to the cybernetic hive mentality? How are we biological leaves on this giant tree that our energy, our consciousness is being sucked in through our cell phones and our Facebook and our social media? All of this is being sucked in and then transported through the roots into the cybernetic hive, so that this AI can learn everything about us, take over us, and change the future and change the past. It's obvious that this breakaway civilization is made up of banking families that have hijacked our banking industry, our military, the White House, the takeover of foreign policy, the passage of the Patriot Act, credit, and complete control of the money supply. And finally, the Space Force. All of this is imprisoning us inside this yoke while they can remanifest themselves in the white. That's the breakaway civilization in a nutshell, and we're going to talk more about that in times to come. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, please go to prisonerpress.com. Our website is the hub of all this information. If you want to support this channel, you can subscribe. We have Patreon. You can donate at prisonerpress.com/donate. Every dollar counts. Every 50 cents counts, because all of this goes towards funding what we're up against, which is massive tyranny, massive evil in a technocratic time of disparity, of peril, of sheer evil. But you know what? Obi-Wan Kenobi said it best when he said, "Strike me down and I shall become more powerful than you would ever imagine." That's where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. Rage against the dying of the light. I'm Brady G. This is Prisoner Press. We'll be right back.